Hi everybody, welcome. I am very excited to paint with everybody. I hope you guys got your materials ready. Um, we are going to wait about 10 minutes just to get everybody logged in. We did start a new live session. It was supposed to automatically start, so I'm just hoping that the links aren't crossed because I ended up having to manually start it. So we're going to wait about 10-15 minutes till everyone gets logged in, and in the meantime, I'm just going to go over with you guys how to mix a couple colors and how to get ready. All right, so if you guys didn't see the pre-video, I'm just going to go over really quickly the materials that I'm going to use for this particular painting. We can see over here, we've got lots and lots of fun colors in the background. Any sort of background like this, you guys can be really creative. It doesn't have to look like just like the one that I have there. You can use whatever colors that you can imagine. I think purple could be a really pretty color on that background too. So just keep that in mind. If you are working with a primary paint set, I'm going to go over with you guys what colors to mix in order to get some of those less used colors. All right, so as we can see here, this is the amount of paint that I'm going to use for this painting. As you can see, the white is really, really heavy. And the reason why is we're going to use this really cool blending technique in the background that's going to kind of use up a lot of that white. All right, but if you guys don't have pink or green, because we look here, we've got our red, blue, and yellow, which are our primaries, and most paint sets always include these colors because these three colors, they make up all the colors in the whole world. So if you got those, you're good, but I'll show you guys how to mix it. So if you can see here, we do have a green. If you don't have green in your paint set, all you're going to do is you're going to take a little bit of yellow. All right, I'll just put some right there, a little pinch in there. A little bit of yellow, a little bit of blue, stir it up, and voila, we got a nice little green. All right, so if you need to make a green, you can just do blue and yellow. You want to use just a small touch of blue because the yellow is so light. The blue will really, really obstruct that color. So just use a tiny, tiny bit there. All right, now if you don't have pink, no biggie. I do have the pink that I'm using, but you can make your own pink. And actually, I think if you make your own pink, this blend between the red and the pink will be a lot more cohesive. I might even end up using the color we make right now. All right, so if you don't have a pink, you can go ahead and take a little bit of white. All right, so a little bit of white and a little bit of red. All right, and pink isn't actually its own color. A lot of people think that pink is its own special color, but it's really just a tint of red. And a tint is any color mixed with white. All right, so pink, you can see, just mixed a little bit of white and red, and we got some nice kind of pink tone here. All right, and your pinks are going to vary depending on the pigment of your red, but you can kind of adjust it by adding more or less kind of to your liking. All right, so let's check on the time. It's about 12:03. I'm going to wait a little bit longer just so that everybody gets logged in. So we'll go over some of the other colors that you're going to need. While you guys are pumping those paints, make sure you guys have a water cup. All right, mine's already getting a little messy. And make sure you have your 3 brushes. We've got this small, here, I'll show you guys again if you didn't get that pre-video. So I've got a small, about a 1 size brush. Mine's a tapered pointed edge. This helps me to get a little bit more control. We have a large, and this is just one of those creativity street brushes. They're super cheap. You can buy them at like Walmart, a whole pack of them for super, super cheap. I love them better than all my fancy brushes. So, and then this is about 1/8 of an inch. Your medium brush can be really any size. As long as you just got 3 kind of variations of brushes, you'll be totally fine. All right. And especially with this painting is very fun, very easy, very relaxing. Which is great, right? Because all this crazy stuff going on in the world, we just want to break from it all. So I'm going to put on a little bit of music for about 2 to 5 minutes, just to make sure you guys get logged in. I can see the comments. Everything's live right now. So if you guys have any questions or you're kind of getting set up and you want to figure anything out, just write a comment and I'll respond to you right away. All right, so I'm going to put a song on while you guys get set up. Listen to some Jack Johnson, kind of keep it low key here. And then please, any questions that you guys have, I'd love for you to ask them in the next 5 minutes or so, because I'll be able to give you all my attention. All right? We'll go ahead and get started in just a sec. Yes, we're going to be painting live all week long. Tomorrow, my husband's actually going to be teaching the class. He's going to be doing the sunflowers over there. And then we're going to be doing this one. And we're going to be doing this awesome galaxy. Sorry, a little. We're going to do this awesome galaxy one too, which is really, really fun for the kids. So all week long, if you guys need something to keep your kiddos busy, please log in. I'm a credentialed art teacher, so I'm going to try to throw in some things in there, that are kind of California lesson aligned in case you get education with these paint classes. So we can have fun, it'll be educational, and we'll be with you guys all week. We're even going to be doing a pinch pot class. So if you guys have air dry clay or anything like that, we'll be doing a little bit of pinch pot lessons for planting. So for like a succulent. Oh no. Oh yes, let me get you the paint plate. All right, so my paint plate's already a little messy because I was mixing those colors. This is just a mix of white and pink. Let me turn this down in case you guys can't hear me. So this is just a mix of white and red to get that pink. I also just had a pre-made pink. And then really you're gonna want a lot of white. This painting requires a lot of white. And then this one is just a yellow and a blue to get that green if you don't have your own green. All right. I'll leave this up for a minute so you guys can see. And don't really worry too much about the pigments of those colors. We're going to actually mix white right into those colors, so they're all going to become this like nice kind of pastel-y color. So any yellow, blue, red, pink, and green, and white that you have will be totally fine. And again, if you don't have green and pink, totally fine. Just mix that red with white to get a pink, and that blue with the yellow. All right. So I'm going to wait about 2 more minutes. We'll put the music on. Please, any questions that you guys have, make sure I got you guys all. Sorry about the camera. I wish that bigger screen. I do have a link. I don't know if it's working too well, but if you go to www.paintersoiree.com, it's supposed to be live streaming at the same time. It's the first time that I've used this software, so I'm not sure how well it's communicating, but I don't know if it'll be a better, a more clear screen on your iPad, but I'm hoping so. All right, so give it 1 more minute. Any questions, you guys? Keep them coming. I'm here for you. Almost 12:10. So 12:10, we're gonna hit the ground running, guys. Any more questions? Keep them coming. Oh, sorry, that's the hands into my mouth. All right, here we are. Okay, so you guys ready? Everybody good? Ready to go? I can't usually I can see you guys all out there, but I'm hoping you're ready. I'm gonna assume you are. All right. So I know the scariest thing in the whole world is a blank canvas. So the first step we're gonna do is very, very easy. You're gonna go ahead and get that paintbrush nice and wet, and we're just gonna wet this whole canvas. And there's tons of benefits to this. With that technique that we're gonna do in the background, it'll help the paint from drying before we start to blend it in with the white. But it also just kind of gets you acclimated with your canvas. If you have any dents or indentations in your canvas, when you pre-wet the canvas, what happens is it gets it wet enough that then when it starts to dry, it'll shrink the canvas and it will cover up or like make flatten any of those indentations. So there's tons of benefits to pre-wetting a canvas. So all we're going to do is just take that big brush and your water. Mine's a little pink from mixing already, but totally fine. All right, and we're just going to cover that up. Now yours should be kind of more of a clear, but I'm going with dirty water here. It's not going to matter in the long run though, so it's kind of good actually because you guys can maybe see a little bit of the water streaks on the canvas. I'm just filling this whole thing up with water here. Any drips that you get, you can just kind of blend them outward. Alright. And you guys, I would recommend doing this even if you're painting on a canvas bag or anything like that too. And the reason why is acrylic paint is water-based, so you can add as much water as you want to it. All it's going to do is loosen up the paint. Obviously, you don't want it to be dripping down the canvas, but it's not going to hurt the paint anyway. It makes it a little bit looser and easier to work with. So again, just make sure you guys don't have any drips. If you have any drips after wetting the canvas, you're just going to kind of blend those out. All right, so we have a nice kind of soaking wet canvas here. Awesome. Glad you guys are ready. All right, so we got a nice canvas all nice and covered in water. I was trying to make it shiny, see if you guys can see the shine, but the lighting's not working for me here. Here, let's see if we can even bring this a little closer now that we're starting. All right, here we go. Cool, cool. Oops, a little cricket. Oh, there. Sorry, but you're going backwards. All right, so we have a nice wet canvas. Now for the fun part. Now, I don't want you guys to be scared or nervous with this step. I want you to just be loose and free. There's no wrong way to do this next step. It's just fun. But there's a but. Keep in mind that certain colors, when they blend together, they get brown. All right, so we want to kind of keep that in mind as we're going. We don't want a red to blend with anything, or let's say anything opposite of the color wheel. So let's see here. We can do like a red, a pink, but if you're going to do a pink, you want to just kind of make sure that if you blend it with any blue, you're going to get a purple. Pink with a yellow, we'll get an orange. But once we get into those secondary colors, like a green, any green blended with a red is going to get brown. If you start getting purples, you want to stay away from the yellows. But the next technique that we're doing isn't going to actually blend these colors together so much, but I just kind of wanted to give you guys that little heads up. We want to try to avoid brown as much as possible. All right. So if you want to follow along and do the colors where I do, you can. But again, I want you guys to be creative and fun. Just be careful if you're using any of those secondary colors. Because when those secondary colors blend with the primary on the opposite of the color wheel, that's when you start getting a brown. All right, so I'm going to start off with pink up here. But again, you can use whatever colors you want, especially if you know a little bit about the color wheel. All right, so I'm just going to scribble some pink right here. Woo! All right, you can see it actually picked up a little bit of yellow, so I got some orange happening, which is kind of cool. And there's no special way that I did that. I just scribbled it right on there. So just have fun with it. All right, and if I look up here, I can see that it kind of blends into a blue. I'm going to pick up my blue paint, and I'm just going to kind of do some crazy scribbles over here. All right, just have fun with it. It doesn't have to be, beautiful, because we're going to just blend all this out later. So maybe I'll put a little blue up here. Just scribble those colors on. Again, as long as you're using those primers, you don't have to worry too much about them touching each other. All right, and then I'm going to do a little yellow up here. Now, when yellow starts to blend with blue, we're going to get green. So I don't want to get too far into the green. But if I add some yellow down here, it could even maybe give it some cool kind of background effect there. Yeah, maybe scribble a little yellow in here. Now, what's going to happen when I start to blend this, because I have yellow and pink, I'm going to get a hot orange. All right, once I blend a little bit of the yellow into the green, I'm going to get, or into the blue, it's going to get green. And then these two colors are going to give me a little bit of a purple. Because blue and pink make purple. All right, looks kind of like a crazy mess right now, but that's what we're going for. It's all going to come together in the end. Ooh, look at me, I kind of go blend in there, got a little funky color. It's okay. I'll show you guys what we're going to do next, and it's all going to make sense. All right, now that we got this crazy chaos, we're going to get a paper towel, all right? Wrinkle up that paper towel. So nothing fancy to it. And then we're just going to go ahead and we're going to dip that directly into our white paint. All right, so I just dipped it right in, okay? And to do this technique, you have to apply a little bit of pressure. So I'm gonna hold the top of my canvas here, and I'm just gonna press and twist, press and twist. And I can probably do this whole thing with one paper towel, but just be careful again, because we don't want to get too blendy or we might get a little bit of brown coming through. All right, and I'm just dabbing it. Do you see how it starts to kind of give it some texture and make it a little bit of pastel-y? And I want to do this across the whole thing. Now, if you're going and it's lifting up too much paint, like maybe the canvas is still a little wet, you can take the same technique and just dip it directly into the colors that you want to add back in. All right, so I'm going to first just kind of go and tap all over with this white, turn these colors nice and pastel before I start adding any colors into here. All right. I'm just stamping it everywhere here. You can kind of start to see it transform, right? Starting to look a little bit like this one over here. So even though it looked all chaotic and we had all those neat lines happening, those are actually going to blend right out. Give us some really cool textures and colors. And again, this is like a kind of like a spring light background, so you want it to be nice and pastel. But that being said, it is your canvas. If you want this to be rich in color, power can look cool either way. All right, so I'm looking at mine, and I want to bring a little bit of color back into it. So I'm going to take that paper towel, and I'm just going to dip it right into that blue. All right, because I kind of want a little bit more blue in this area. So I'm stamping some blue on there. Now you can see this blue is super intense compared to some of those other colors, so I'll have to go back through with the white and blend it through. Oops, press it a little hard. It's kind of getting all over the place there. All right, so I'm just going to kind of press and twist, and get that all blended out. And just have fun with this step. Can't really go wrong. You'll see a lot of different things happening. I've done the same sort of technique tons of times, and every one of my paintings, they turn out very, very different from each other. It's kind of the beauty of it. Kind of let it happen. Glue back in here. All righty. I'm going to let that set for a minute. Answer any questions that you guys have. Everything going okay out there? You guys got a nice pastel-y background happening. Let me see if I can bring this a little closer so you guys can kind of see what we got going on. I think I need to adjust this. There we go. All right, so we have a nice kind of very light pastel-y kind of texture happening here. If you guys can see. Again, I'm going to give you guys a little bit of time to kind of finish that up. I'll put the music on for just a second and answer any questions that you guys have. So if you're having any trouble, if you have any questions, if you're concerned about any blends that might happen as you're stamping this out, let me know. I'm here for you. It's 100% interactive. So ask away. Put on some more tunes. Try to keep it really low key. Get your mind off everything. And if you guys want to do the outer edges, the tops, the side, that's called gallery wrapped. So if you're not planning on framing it, you want to put it right on the wall, you can go ahead and stamp all the way on the outer edges too. And a nice finish. All right, how you guys doing? They got their backgrounds? I wish I could see you guys. All right, at the end of the song, we're going to go ahead and do the next step. I did put rewinding as an option. So if I do get too far ahead, you can actually rewind the video and stop it and kind of take it at your own pace. All right. So, everybody ready? Let me know if you're not. Everybody good? Okay, let's do this next step. Okay, so for those of you that don't have a green, remember you're just going to mix blue. All right, that'll give you a nice green blend. So it's going to take blue and yellow, mix it up. Make sure you have mostly yellow and then just kind of start adding a little bit of blue because the blue is really intense. So we'll definitely change up that color. All right, so we're going to go ahead and grab some green with our medium brush. All right, and when we're doing the grass here, you want to hold the brush so that it's tall raised, so not flat. I'll show you, it's not flat. I'm going to go tall. All right, and we're going to start at the base of the canvas here. So we're going to start up, and then as we pull up, we're going to kind of pull our brush away from the canvas. And what that's going to do is basically when you press harder, it spreads out the bristles, so the grass blades are going to be thicker on the bottom. And then as you start to lift, it's going to give it a nice little point. So you'll have these pointy kind of grass edges. If you're feeling like maybe your medium brush is a little thick, you could do this with a small brush. I'm a little bit lazy, so if I have that medium brush, I get more surface area. But the small brush will give you really nice fine detail. So totally up to you. I'm going to start here at the base. Again, just kind of pressing hard and then starting to lift that brush. My paint's a little bit dry, so I'm actually going to pick up just a little bit of water. And I'm going to stir it into that color. Now, it's really important that when you add water to your paint, that you don't dip the brush in the water and then the paint and then go, because what happens is the paint is so thick, you have to pre-mix it. Otherwise, the water will hide behind the paint. When you go to push it on the canvas, you'll have all this water dripping down. So we want to avoid that. So go ahead and add water to the color and then stir it up. And adding water to the paint will give you a lot longer lines, and it will help some of this breaking. So you can kind of see this line is breaking just a little bit here. It's just because the paint was too dry. All right, so now that I got a nice kind of color blend, I'm just going to start from the bottom and move on up. All right. And these are just going to be my thicker blades. All right, we're going to go all the way across. And you want different sizes here. And we're just kind of lifting it away as we go. Don't think about it too much. And don't make it too thick either. It's going to seem weird as you're going across and you're going to want to fill it out. But the style of the painting, you want it to you want to be able to see between those blades. This is a really zoomed up picture of these flowers here. So these blades are going to look nice and big. And kind of the faster you go, I think you'll find a little bit better the lines look. Remember, you can do long ones, short ones. These are about 4 fingers width from the bottom up, depending on the canvas that you're doing. So if we're breaking it down, you'd say maybe a little under a quarter of the way up. All right, so I got some all the way across there. I'm just going to thicken up the base of some of these here, bring out some more. Not even thinking about it, right? Just going through. Make it real sporadic, like nature. And if you want to add some detailed grass blades, you can pick up some more of that green. Go right up. I'm adding a couple of thinner blades through here with my small brush. I'm pushing pretty hard with my small brush. That's why my lines are nice and thick. Remember, less pressure, thinner the line. Let's be real random with this. A couple little wiggly blades. All right. Now, if you want to give it some variation, and you don't have to do this step, but if you see here, you can see that some of these blades are a little bit lighter than the other ones. So all we did for that is I didn't even rinse my brush. I just kind of picked up some yellow. And then right over the top of some of these, you can just kind of blend in some yellow lines. And what's going to happen is the yellow is going to blend into that wet paint right on the canvas, kind of like what we saw with that white. And it's just going to give you some lighter green blades, like the light's hitting some of them. Just gives you some variation in texture, makes it a little bit more interesting. All right, so we got some light green, we got some dark green in there. Get it real interesting looking. All right, any questions? You guys got it? All right, so I'm going to put music on for just about 10 seconds here, just in case you guys have any questions. And then, let's get through that. All right, so no questions. I'm thinking you guys are doing okay out there. But don't be scared. Please ask away. I'm here for you guys. Even if you want to post your progress, I'd love to see it. This is one thing I'm hating about this live class is my favorite part about teaching is seeing your guys' results. So if you guys want to post a picture on there as a comment, show me how you're doing. We can check it out, and if you have any questions about it, I'm here. I'm going to stay on live for a little bit after the class too, just in case you guys have need any additional help along the way. All right. I'm going to move on. Any objections? All right, let's go. Okay, so now for the fun part. Well, at least in my opinion. I guess all of it's kind of fun, huh? So we're going to get the medium brush, or actually, let's make this real fun and easy. We're going to get that big brush. So if you have any colors left on it, you want to probably pull any of that color off of that brush with your paper towel. So that we have a nice clean brush to start. And what we're going to do is we're going to trace out these flowers here. Turn this a little forward so you guys can see better. So if we look at these flowers, it's a little off screen. Sorry, get used to this live thing. Get this down eventually. All right, so if we see the flowers here, there's a little bit of color behind the red. So we're going to trace these out in a pink. We can actually, let's do them in white because white is very forgiving, and that way if you guys don't like where you did it, you can just take your paper towel, blend it into the background. All right, so let's make it real easy for everybody. I'm going to get that big brush, and if we look at our flowers here, they're about 4 fingers width. And everybody has different size hands, but they'll be relative. So if you want to use your hands as a measurement, all your flowers will look kind of similar in size. So if I put my hand here, I can see that all my flowers are about 4 fingers width, except for this little guy. He's about 3 fingers width. All right, and before we actually do the stems, we're going to first do the flowers, and then we're going to bring those stems up from the grass to meet the flowers once they set for a minute. All right, so let's start these flowers off in white, and you could do these flowers any color. They're kind of like originally a poppy. They kind of look like tulips. So, you know, with that being said, tulips are tons of different colors. You get all kinds of yellow tulips, red tulips, purple tulips, I think. Yeah. So you don't have to make them pink, just like mine. I don't want to confuse you, so I'm going to keep mine pink. But that being said, I've seen people do this painting even blue flowers. They looked really, really cool. So be creative, have fun, okay? So I'm going to get that big brush. I'm going to pick up some white paint. All right. And to make the flower, it's going to be very easy. We're going to keep it simple. I'm going to do one all the way over here. I'm going to start about 2 fingers width over from the edge. And if we break our canvas in half, we can see that this one starts, like if you were to break it in half, right on top of that half mark. And it doesn't have to be right there, but sometimes measurements help. If you're kind of more of like OCD, I tend to be, so I want to make sure you guys get all those measurements. All right, so about 2 fingers width over from the side, about halfway down that canvas. I'm going to go ahead and draw just like a U. Let's say like a U. So just a U, just like that. All right, and then I'm just going to fill it in. So doing streaks from the bottom of the U and bring those straight up. All right, so easy peasy, right? We're just doing a U and then just pulling up from the base and doing some lines here. All right, so I'm going to do another one about right here, and you can be real sporadic with the flowers. Don't see exactly where mine are. If you want to count, we can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 flowers. All right, but fit as many as you can. Don't try to, if they end up kind of bigger and trying to get that 7 in, don't make them too crowded. You want it to be very natural, right? And make sure that they're not all in line. So I've got this one here, so I'm going to do one a little bit lower to keep it interesting, right? So I'm just going to do a U here. And then just some streaks up. All right, I'm going to do another one right here. This one's really tall. All right, and streaks up. And you want to keep that top of the flower. You can see this very kind of choppy. So I don't have a straight line there. It's just kind of all broken up. That helps. And then you'll be able to see it better when I do a darker color on here. So I'm going to do another one right here. You just want to kind of avoid having them all in a line, so you can kind of find where they'll fit nicely and stick them in there. All right, this one has a big one down here, so I'm going to follow in suit. Another little U, right? Draw a little U, and then just from that, just pull those up. All right. And then we're going to do one. This one's pretty low, but I'm going to actually kind of fit this one in, maybe coming off the side here a little bit. All right. And then we've got this kind of crazy one over here. You can add this one. If this one's a little complicated, you don't have to. It'll confuse you just a bit when we get there. Maybe I'll add it. No, I'll do it right here. I've got a little teeny one. And this U, he's kind of pointing downwards, right? So we don't want the U to actually be like this. We're going to turn the U like this, all right? So I'm just going to turn that U and bring some brush strokes down there. All right, so now right now I've got a bunch of floating white flowers. And we're going to move on to the next step pretty quickly because we want to actually have this color blend into those white back and faces that we have. So I'm going to pick up some pink. If you guys don't have pink, again, you can just pick up some red and just blend it into that white just a bit so that we have those 3 variations of colors. I didn't rinse my brush, so I picked up the pink, kind of stirred it in with the white that's already on the brush, and now I'm just going to brush it right over those lines, but not all the way covering. So just kind of very sparse, because I want to be able to see the texture, see a little bit of that white through. I'm just kind of mimicking that shape. So bring it here. And this is kind of where you can start being real creative with your colors too. So it doesn't have to be pink. To give it that kind of texture, all you have to do is, I would say, any color that you decide to have in that flower. Don't rinse your brush before you put that background kind of lighter base color on it. Or you can just blend that color directly in with some white so that when you do the final color over the top, it'll have that like nice kind of contrast and make it look a little more realistic. All right, so we got another one kind of coming in from the side here. All right, and then we've got our crazy upside down guy right over here. All right. You guys doing okay out there? Any questions? We'll just put on some music lightly in the background here. All right, so now we're going to do that final color. You guys ready? Let's go. I'm not rinsing my brush. Look how dirty this brush is. I'm going to keep it nice and colorful, and I'm going to pick up some red paint now. I got red paint. All right, and then I'm just going to go ahead and brush right over the top of that pink, but even less than I did the pink, because I want to be able to see some of that white through there, some of that pink through there, and then a little bit of those red lines as well. All right, so we're just going to go right over here. There we go. All right. Don't worry if it blends with those colors right on the canvas. That's the effect that we want. All right, so I'm gonna bring this a little closer, let you guys work on that so you can see the texture. I'm gonna get good at this eventually. It's like a mirror image, so it looks like it'd be left. There you go, and then I've got a light too. So if you guys can see, there's some clear definition between the pink, the white, and the red. You want to kind of see the variations between all of them. All right, so we do want that paint to set just a minute. We want to go too quickly into that next color because that green is going to go a little bit over the top edges of these. So if you guys can see, the stem's going to come up, and then we're going to kind of add a little bit of a base there. If we go too quickly and this is still wet, it's going to turn into a weird brown base stem and not look exactly the way that we want. So just give it a second. Sometimes I use like an extra plate. You can take the whole thing and kind of move it around if you need to get it dry. But this is only if you have a really heavy-handed, like a lot of paint on there. If you water it down a bit, you should be really fine. It takes about 3 minutes tops for a acrylic to set. So even though it might be a little shiny, it's usually pretty set. Here. We're just gonna fan that, get it nice and set. All right, you guys ready? Any questions? Are we doing okay on their flowers out there? All right, and I do have that rewind option. So if I'm going too quickly for you guys, as far as I know, because I haven't tested the video myself, but I was told you could rewind it and stop it and kind of take it in at your own pace. So let's go ahead and move on here. You guys probably guess the next step. It's not that hard to kind of figure out here. We're getting really close to the end, which is awesome. But I will stay online for quite a while if you guys have any questions, or if you joined us late, maybe you're a little bit behind on the video. I'll be here to kind of help you guys out. And again, if you guys can, I'd love to see your progress. Post your pictures as you're going. I'd love to see what you guys have. It's my favorite part. I don't get to do that when I'm live. So please do share what you guys got going on here. All right. So what we're going to do, and again, I'm just adding some water to my green because I want it to be nice and loose when I go to paint this, because I want those lines to be nice and long. Otherwise, I'm going to have to pick up some more paint and reapply it. So add some water into your paint, but stir it up. Remember, don't dip it in the water, dip it in the paint, and go to your canvas, or you're going to have a big drippy mess. And It's a bit devastating. If you are using acrylic though, and not a tempera, a really cool thing, I'll show you guys. Hoping all my paints are too acrylic. If you guys do make a mistake, like say you make a big line in the sky like I just did, just get your paper towel, get a little bit wet, and usually this color will pick right up. It was never even there. So in case you guys didn't know, ooh, like it was never there. Acrylic is pretty erasable in the first 30 seconds or so. As long as the background is fully dry, it won't lift the background. You can actually pick that color up like it was never even there. So since this next step is a little bit illustrative, I just always like to kind of, ease your fears there. So if you are nervous about getting these steps right, just have a wet paper towel handy. If you don't get it right, just wipe it right up. No biggie, all right? So I'm picking up that green paint. Again, I mixed a lot of water in there, not too much, but you can always test it. If you lift your brush and it's or your plate and it starts to drip, it's probably a little too loose. But mine's not dripping, so I think I'm good to go here. Now I'm going to start with this guy over here because he's a little bit weird. Seeing that he kind of comes over the front of that one. So I'm going to start at the base where I want that thing, the stem to be. And I'm just drawing like a curvy line that reaches up and meets that guy here. I'm going to wait a little bit longer before I actually start doing the base of the stems just to give it that extra time it needs to dry. All right, but that's kind of our approach here. We're going to start from the base, somewhat kind of where that flower is in line with. But be really careful not to do too straight of lines, because when you do too straight of lines, it looks a little less natural. So, you give it a little bit of a curve, a little bit of interest, a little bit of character. So I'm going to start this next one. Now this one is, again, is going to be a little bit confusing because this one's actually behind the flower that we did here. So we're going to have to stop that line and then continue it again. So don't go right through that flower. You want that flower to still look nice and colorful here. So starting at the base. All right, and I'm stopping right there. All right, and then I'm going to continue that line. Continue my stem there. Now remember, the harder you push with that brush, and I'm using the small brush for this, the harder you press with that brush, the thicker the line is going to be. So if you're finding your stem's too thin, just apply a little bit more pressure, or the opposite. If you're like in these really thick lines, just try to get a little bit more water on there. The water also helps the paint to stick to the canvas with less pressure. So if you add a little bit of water, you could barely graze that canvas, get a nice thin line. Okay, so I'm going to start with this one. While I do the stems, let's put on some more chill out music here. Now something like this, it's a very long line. Whenever you run out of paint, that can be a break where a stem comes off of. So that way you don't have to try to make it look like that line continues. So I've got this kind of line that broke here, so I'm going to kind of bring it out just a bit. And that's going to be my stem. And I can kind of continue it with it looking not as strange. Down a bit. We've got kind of a funky knot up there, so I'm going to try to smooth this line out here. Now, just keep in mind that you want the base to not be thinner than the top, right? Because then it would look a little imbalanced. So if your top of your stem starts getting really, really thick, you just want to kind of thicken out that base to match it. So that way it doesn't look like it's going to just snap and fall over, right? So I kind of had that issue here. I got a little carried away when I got up there. So I'm just thickening out the base just a bit to give it a little more of a natural look. So this one's off to a side. It's something a little different than I did here. So I'm actually going to have this stem kind of almost go off the page. If you want to add little lines, give them little stems or something, you can. You can even add a highlight, kind of like what we did with the grass. If you want to blend a little bit of yellow into it, you can. It's a little bit more advanced because you're going to have to follow that line to kind of get that yellow on there. A little bit of interest. All right, you guys doing okay out there? Any questions? All right. You guys are good? All right, so I'll show you guys how to do the stem on the base of this flower. We're going to start all the way here. All right, and I'm just basically going to kind of make like almost like a triangle at the bottom. And then I'm just going to do some lines that come up like that. I'm going to bring this a lot closer so you guys can see what I'm doing here. All right, so we're just going to do like a triangle. Like that. All right. Get some more green. From there, we're just going to pull up these lines right into the flower. Oops, let me turn that out a little bit more. All right, and I'm going to do that to all my flowers here. Nice little base. Got all of my hand on there. Sometimes it helps to have a balance point. If you guys are needing to kind of do a line that's more steady, I'll sometimes use my pinky to kind of help me balance it out. Just make sure there's no pink on there. All right, you guys doing okay out there? All right, so now that we've got the base of the stems, we've got our grass, we've got our flowers, there's only one step left. You guys got to sign your canvases. All right, so we can see this one here is signed over in this corner. You can sign it wherever you want. It's funny because I have a lot of people always ask me, like, where are you supposed to sign a canvas? That's really your artist's decision. So I often see it in the lower right corner. But if you're anything like me and you're a little bit nervous about your handwriting messing up your whole painting, you can always do it on their edges. Sometimes I'll sign up here or I'll sign on the side here. But yeah, that's up to you. I'm going to stay online for just a little while. If you guys have any questions or anything, please do let me know. But just a reminder, we will be doing some classes all week long. Ryan is going to be doing our sunflower painting tomorrow. That's this painting here. It's kind of like this starry night sunflowers. Very fun painting. It's one of the first ones that we ever did as a company. And then following that, we'll be doing the jar here. This one's really great for all ages. It's nice and easy. It looks difficult, but we're going to use a lot of measurements and techniques that kind of get you there. And then we'll be doing our galaxy painting, which is a really, really great one for all ages because it's really just mostly about making big circles and spirals and splattering paint and just having a really good time. So please join us. Tune in all week. We'll be here. The school district I work for is shut down, so got to keep busy, you know. But please do ask me any questions. If you guys get to this video late, I'm going to keep checking. I'll keep online, keep checking. Please ask away, ask questions. I'm here for you. Guys, stay safe. You know, kind of stay indoors if you can. This stuff that's going on in the world's a little crazy, but I know it'll pass very soon. All right, so again, any questions that you guys have, please feel free. A big ending, I'm going to throw my painting up the screen. Sorry, I had to go a little crazy there. Any questions you guys have, please do ask me. Send me an email if you get to me after I've logged off. I just want to thank you guys for joining me today and painting with me. It's been really fun. I wish I could see you guys. Please do, if you guys finish up, send me a picture of your finished product. I'd love to see how these turned out. But yeah, thanks again, and tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. same time. You guys again will be with Ryan and Noah, our son. He's going to be painting along, and he's 8 years old. He's in second grade. So if you have a second grader or someone in that age group, you're going to have someone that can kind of set the pace for you guys. You can see him painting along too. So it'll be a lot good for the whole family. So thanks again, you guys. I really, really appreciate you joining us today. And again, stay safe out there.